Hey there, crochet friend! You love granny squares and the traditional granny stitch, but you also like to infuse some fun new stitches, some modern techniques such as mosaic crochet. Well, I have just the granny square for you. This is the Mosaic Hearts Granny Square pattern. In the middle here we have overlay mosaic crochet in the round from the center out, and then followed by just the traditional granny stitch, granny square. So I'm going to teach you how to make this square. We're going to learn how to do mosaic crochet from the center out and how to add the traditional granny stitch onto it as well. So what you're going to need for this is some worsted weight yarn. I just used some scraps that I had laying around in a size H 5mm hook. You can find the free pattern on my website. It comes with written instructions and a chart. Before I teach you how to do it, make sure that you're subscribed to this video and hit the bell so you're notified anytime I come out with any other tutorials like this. Share this video with a friend so they can make this square along with you, and go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Comment below with whether or not this is a new technique for you. Let's get crocheting. Okay, here is this chart for the pattern. And we have our legend right over here. We start here in the middle and we make a magic circle. And then we are going to do 8 single crochets into that magic circle. I am going to be using my darker color. I'm using my pink. And then, so we'll use that for my odd rows. And then for my even rows, I'm using my white or my cream color here. You can find this chart and instructions for free on my website. I've linked that below. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so to start out, we're going to make our magic circle. You can make yours however you like to make it. This is how I do mine. Okay, and inside this magic circle, I am going to make 8 single crochets. And 8. Then, as the instructions say near the top, after each round we are going to work an invisible join. So to do that, I'm pulling my magic circle closed. I'm removing my hook. Then on that first stitch, I'm going in from back to front through both of those loops. And so back to front through both of those loops. And then grabbing onto my working loop and pulling it through. Okay, and that's the invisible join. So for round 2, we're changing color to color B, my white. So I'm just going to kind of chain 1 to join and then pull that taut. At the start of every round, I do a mosaic corner, and to do that, I go in the back loop only of that first stitch and do a single crochet. Back loop only, single crochet in that first stitch, chain 1, and then a back loop only single crochet again in that first stitch. So that's what I'm going to do for every corner. Now, for round 2, we do that corner, then we're going to do a back loop only single crochet, and then we're going to repeat that. So corner, which is the back loop only single crochet, chain 1, back loop only single crochet, and then back loop only single crochet in the next stitch. And then repeat. So corner, oops, and then back loop only single crochet. Now, a tip while working the corner to make sure that these corners are nice and crisp is have the side you're working on be up straight, go in the back loop only, work your single crochet, then chain 1, and then turn your side that way. So now you're working directly into the side for your second part of your corner. And then your back loop only single crochet again. Okay, now I'm going to pull up my loop, make it a little bit big so I don't accidentally pull it out, and do the invisible join. So I'm going to go through both loops of that first stitch at the corner, back to front, grab my loop, and then pull it through. Okay, now we're ready for round 3. Something I didn't show you the first round, but I'm going to show you now, is with the color A, we chain 1. And then we skip the first single crochet of that corner and we find the chain stitch, which is, here's the first single crochet, there's a second single crochet. So here's your chain stitch. Go back loop only in that chain. And then before I work my stitch, I'm going to put this yarn back or make sure I work over the tail of the color I'm not using. So it kind of just brings it up for us. And then work my corner. Okay, so single crochet in the back loop, chain 1. And I'm going to drop that tail behind and I'm not going to work over the tail anymore. And I'm going to do my second single crochet in the back loop. Now what we're going to do for round 3 is we're going to continue working back loop only single crochet. So in our next stitch we do back loop only single crochet, in the next one back loop only single crochet, and in the next one back loop only single crochet. And now we're back at our corner. Find the back loop of the chain stitch, work your single crochet, chain 1, and then back loop only single crochet on this next side in that corner stitch. And then 3 back loop only single crochets. And then corner. So find that chain, work your corner stitch, and then 3 back loop only single crochets across. And then here's your corner. And then ending with 3 back loop only single crochets. I always think that this last back loop only single crochet is hard to find. Sometimes you just have to fudge it, or if you see the stitches are just kind of like that, so you find the back loop only single crochet. And now we're here back and we need to do our join. Let's see if I can do this join and make sure that my string is in the back. Okay. There we go, now it's in the back. Drop your color A to the back, grab your color B, and then do your chain 1. So now we're ready for round 4, and in round 4 we're going to introduce our front loop only double crochets, which is our drop down double crochets or mosaic double crochets. If you're familiar with mosaic crochet at all, you would know that. But the start of every round I do a corner. So for the corner, you skip over that single crochet, remember, and then go directly and find the chain 1, the back loop only the chain 1. And then I grab the unworked tail and I work over that for that first single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. So you work your corner and then you're going to work 2 front loop only double crochets. So you know how we've been doing those back loop only single crochets? Well, that leaves the front loop open of my color B, right? And so that's where we're going to work these front loop only double crochets. We're going to drop down and do that. So double crochet, we're going to yarn over, and for this first one right here, we're doing these X's. This first X is going to be worked into the corner chain. You go directly below, this dot means chain 1. So the first front loop only double crochet, you're going to drop down and work into the front loop of the chain 2 rows down. Let me show you how that works. So yarn over, and then you find the chain. This pink corner is worked in the back loop only of that chain, so you have to find the front loop of the chain, which is that piece there. Depending on how tight your tension is, you're going to have to finagle it quite a bit, but there we go. And then work a double crochet. Okay, that's the front loop only double crochet. I'm sorry that this first one we're working on is in the corner stitch because it's a little difficult, but then we're going to do another front loop only single crochet, and this one's a little bit easier. You can see the front loop that's left over from that row down below. Work a double crochet into that front loop. When we're using our color B, we're always going to do our front loop only double crochets into color B. So white into the white front loops and then pink into the pink front loops. So that's a little tip for you. So we do 2 of those double crochets, then a back loop only single crochet, and then 2 more front loop only double crochets. So yarn over, make sure we're skipping the front loop of the stitch we just worked. We don't need that one. We got to go to the next one. Make sure that the stitches line up and do a double crochet. And then another front loop only double crochet, and this one again is in the corner stitch. So here you can see it a bit better when it's not our starting corner. It's just right next to the stitch we just worked is that front loop right there. And now we're back to our corner and we're back to our repeat. So you find the chain stitch, back loop of the chain stitch, and do your single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then we do our 2 front loop only double crochets. So yarn over, here we're working in the corner, and since the corner chain 1 is just 1 stitch, right, we're going to work in the same corner as we did right here. It's the same front loop. So those 2 stitches are sharing the same front loop. Okay, and then another front loop double crochet there in the next stitch, back loop only single crochet, and 2 front loop doubles. The second one, remember, is in the corner chain, front loop. Now that side. So now we work on our repeat, our corner, find the chain, which you'll get used to it, but you could also flip this back and count to figure out where it is. Back loop only single crochet, chain 1, back loop only single crochet, and then our 2 front loop double crochets. So double crochet in that front loop of that chain stitch down below. We're sharing that chain with this side. Another front loop, double crochet in the next stitch, back loop single, 2 front loop doubles, the second one being in that funky corner stitch. And now we're ready for our corner. Back loop single in that chain, chain 1, back loop single in the same stitch, 2 front loop doubles, first one's in that corner chain, front loop double, and the next back loop single, front loop double, and front loop double in that corner stitch. So it was already kind of tight to begin with, and now it's going to be extra tight. I guess that goes to show a tip should be to make that corner stitch a little bit looser. Okay, now we're ready for the invisible join. Just try to make sure my working yarn is going to go to the back. Okay, and then chain 1 with our color A. taut. Now I'm going to work my corner, find the chain, insert my hook through the back loop, find our yarn end that we're not working with, and then fold that over so we work with it. And what that does is it just kind of pulls it up along with to make the backs look a little bit cleaner. Chain one, drop our yarn we're not using to the back, and do our second single crochet. Okay, now when we look at our chart here, now we're on row 5, and we just have empty boxes until we get to this middle stitch. This was our corner. We're going to do 1, 2, 3 back loop only single crochets, 1 front loop double, and 1, 2, 3 back loop singles in our corner. So 3, 1, 3. So we're going to do back loop single crochet. So find the next stitch and go in the back loop, single crochet, 1 back loop single crochet, 2 back loop single crochet, 3. So can you see where we're going to do our front loop double? Remember, we're going to drop down. We're using pink, so we want to find the front loop of the pink 2 rows down. So yarn over, and good thing it's like peeking through right there. That's nice and clever. So find that front loop, go down from the bottom and up, and double crochet. Now 3 back loop singles, and repeat, corner stitch. Back loop single, chain 1, back loop single. And then 3 back loop singles, front loop double into that pink front loop that's left over, and then 3 back loop singles, and 3 corner, three back loop singles, front loop double, drop down and grab that front loop, corner, then our final side, 3 back loop singles, 1 front loop double, 3 back loop singles. That last single crochet, sometimes it's hard for me to find the back loop. So what I usually do is I kind of bend over the corner and then, you know, move the stitches around until I find, okay, that one's the back loop single, and put the tail of your yarn back, pull out a little loop, and do your invisible join. It's find it hard to stay at camera on this part, so I apologize. Okay. Now we're ready for round 6. I'm going to show you the start of this, and then I'm going to set you free. Okay, and I'll have you finish up that last part before we get onto the granny stitch part. Okay, so join with your color B and work your corner. Okay, here with round 6, we start with 2 front loop doubles again. This first one is going into that corner stitch. 1, 2. Then we're going to work 5 back loop singles and then 2 front loop doubles and repeat. So I'm going to show you how to do that one side. I just want to give you guys this extra little pointer on how to do those corner front loop doubles. So yarn over and find the corner stitch. These are going into that corner chain. So we're going to find the front loop that's just hanging out. So it's this little nibby dobby right there. You see? It's in between my thumbs. So go up from the bottom in there, like so, and do a double crochet. And then double crochet in the next. Then 5 back loop singles. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then do your front loop double. And then your front loop double that's in that corner stitch is this next one here. And then work the corner. Okay, then 2 front loop doubles. That first one's in the corner chain, so we're sharing it with this one. And then another one. And then just continue around like that. So work up the chart around 13. Around 13 is a little bit special. We're using color A, but we're adding in a chain and a skip stitch. It's not going to look exactly like this. Make sure you follow the written instructions. I'll work up round 13 on the video for you, so let's meet back right there. Okay, we are finished with this mosaic part, round 12. Now we're ready for round 13 here. So round 13 is, you're going to do a corner and then 3 back loop singles and then a chain 1 and skip. So we're going to repeat this across and then do the corner. Okay, so we got to change back to our color A, then work the corner. Okay, I'm going to work over that strand of white, chain 1, and then corner. Then we're going to do 3 back loop singles. 1, 2, 3. We're going to chain 1, then skip that stitch. Do 3 singles. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, skip. 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 Then lastly 1, 2, 3, and we're back at our corner here. Okay, so in the corner stitch, we're gonna do our corner like we've been doing. Okay, and then work along the side and just do that on all 4 sides. chain one, we're going to skip that, and then 3. Okay, do that on all 4 sides, and then I'll meet you again for the next round. Okay, there we go. We just finished round 13, where we have these chain 1 spaces. Now we are going to do our granny stitch rounds. Okay, if you know anything about how to do a granny square, we're basically just doing that around. In the chain 1 spaces, we're doing our granny stitch, and then at each corner we have 2 granny stitches and a chain 2 in between. So we're going to work that up 6 different rounds, alternating colors, and then in the last round, after I worked with color A, then I did another color A round, just doing single crochet in each stitch all the way around, just to kind of make a nice finish to that. So I'm going to show you how to do the granny stitch round. I'm not going to show you all of them, but here we go. So we're going to change colors and chain 3. Okay. Then I'm going to make sure to leave this over on that side because I'm going to pull it up in between those stitches. And then in this corner stitch here, I am going to work 2 double crochets. We don't have to go in the back loop. We can go just right in that chain 1 space and do 2 double crochets. And then basically what we have there is our granny stitch, because we have basically 3 double crochets there. Of course, if you want to work your granny stitch a different way, you can do it which way you like. Okay, so granny stitch, and then we're going to chain 1. I'm going to be working up the rest of this corner at the end, so for now I'm just going to move on to the next stitch in this round. Okay, so now I'm going to work a granny stitch into the chain 1 space that we made from the row below. So we're going to work 3 double crochets into that same space. Okay, and chain 1 to finish off that granny stitch, and then find the next chain 1 space. And then chain 1. Then 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. And that's how we work our granny stitches in this round. Then now we're at the corner. There are 4 single crochets here, but we aren't going to worry about that. We're just going to go ahead and do our corner. So in this chain 1 space here in the corner, we're going to work a granny stitch, 3 double crochets, then chain 2, then 3 double crochets, or another granny square on this side for the corner. Sorry, I know my zoom is doing something funky, so my focus. Okay, then a chain 1. And now we work along this side. Find the chain 1 space. Okay, work that all the way around. And once we get back to our starting corner, I'll show you what to do. Okay, here I'm at the final corner. I've done my chain 1, and now I'm going to work another granny stitch in this corner. One thing to note is this color that we're going to use will be next, but if I forget to carry it over, it's just going to have this big weird line up the back. So right now I make sure to bring that end with me as I work my last granny stitch. So let's do that. We're going to do 3 double crochets there, so I'm going to make sure to bring this with me, and I'm going to work over that end. Okay, so 3 double crochets, it's nice and hidden there. And then I'm going to kind of just pull it up with me right now as I do chain 2. And then at the top of this chain 3, I'm just going to do a slip stitch to join, and I'm working over that end so it just kind of gets pulled up along like that. Okay, drop that color and pick up my next. And we're basically going to do the same thing. Okay, but instead of doing the chain 1 space in this little area, we're just doing the chain 1 space between these granny stitches here. But otherwise, it's very similar to before. And we're working our corners in these chain 2 spaces. So we're going to chain 3. Here I have my working yarn. I'm not going to work over it for this corner because I just want it to bring it along for the next time. Chain 1, and then in these spaces between my granny stitches is where I make the next granny stitch. Chain 1. Okay, so just repeat that around. You're going to do 6 rounds of granny stitch. There you go. And then to finish it off, I'm not going to do the final round, round 20, but using the same color as my final round, or using my color A, what I'm doing is working a single crochet in each stitch, including the chain 1. And then in each corner, like in the chain 2, I'm working single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. Okay, hope you guys like this pattern. So what did you think about combining overlay mosaic crochet in the round and the granny stitch to make this Mosaic Hearts Granny Square? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Of course, before you do anything with this, like add it to a blanket, make sure that you weave in your ends. I have such a bad habit of not doing that. Make sure you subscribe to this video, hit that bell so you're notified when I come out with new content. And if you haven't already, share this video with a friend because they need to make this square as well. Until next time, happy crocheting.